Welcome to the Accomplish More podcast, created specifically for the small business owner who doesn't think small. I'm your host, Gayla Scrivener. This show is where you'll learn practical ideas, hints, tips, and tricks to help you grow your small business where you can leverage your time and to accomplish more. Hello, and thanks for joining me today for another episode of the Accomplish More podcast. It's episode number 36, and I am so glad you're here. You know, it's funny how things just come in waves. Do you ever have that experience? Well, for me, lately, I seem to get a rash of the same kinds of questions all at once. Maybe for a few months, everyone is focused on social media, and they ask me questions about that. Then maybe it's about MailChimp and email marketing. But lately, I've been doing a lot of website work. I find it fun and challenging. There's several components that go into a website. It's not only the design, but you want to have the right message and clear message on your pages. You want to have a plan for consistent content, and you want to think about the user experience. It doesn't have to be overwhelming or complicated, but I do believe it's important for all of us small business owners to have control over our websites. But having control does not mean you can't or shouldn't delegate. I was doing a little presentation a few days ago, and I asked this question: if money weren't an issue, what's keeping you from delegating? The consensus of the group was it was the fear of losing control over part of their business. I get that. Sometimes I feel that way too. But from my standpoint, control is a good thing, and it puts you in a better position to delegate. I tend to jokingly call myself a control freak, but I believe a healthy amount of control is a great thing, and you don't have to be a freak about it. To me, having control means you have thought about things and know what kind of outcomes you want. Shifting your mindset from having to do every little detail to achieve your desired outcomes to delegating the details so that someone else can duplicate the outcomes you want allows you to do more things and accomplish more. That shift of mindset can be a gradual thing, and oftentimes it is. But even though you shift that mindset, you can still remain in control and still be an effective delegator. As a business owner, I like to have control over my own stuff. After all, it's my stuff, right? I started my business and I wanted things a certain way. Well, I still want things a certain way. I know what works for me. I like the programs I've chosen because I've taken the time to learn them. I don't necessarily know exactly what I want or how I'll go about it. I want to figure that out for myself and want to figure out what is best for my company and be able to implement what I want and when I want to do it. So control isn't a bad thing. When people tell me that they are afraid to let go and delegate tasks because they like to have control, well, I can relate. I can. What I find ironic is that those very same individuals who like control become some of my best clients. They know what they want and they focus on the results. My belief is that the business owner should retain all control over of their business, no matter what they delegate. My team of virtual assistants help many clients with a wide variety of tasks, primarily focused on content marketing. I'm very open-minded and supportive on changes that our clients will have. All of our businesses will evolve. Change is inevitable. For example, even if a client of ours makes changes and has decided to hire an on-site employee and will be doing some or even all of the tasks that had been delegated to my virtual team, I want to make sure they have control over whatever systems they need. Let's say maybe their MailChimp or Constant Contact account. I may have set up that account, but it's theirs. They shouldn't have to start from scratch just because Scrivener Solutions is no longer doing their email campaigns. If it helps our client, I even help train their new on-site staff in some of the tasks that we were doing. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. In some cases, my client had evolved to hire full-time employees in their business structure, and it worked better that way to have all the tasks done in-house. We stay in contact because, who knows? If they have turnover, they may need some help from someone who already knows their business. It all works out, and it works out well. They remain in control of how and who they want to delegate to. And that's just one example. But one thing that I would like to address that is really weighing heavy on my mind lately is the ability to have control over your website. Especially if you have listened to past episodes, you know that I believe that one of the most important assets that you can have for your business is your website. Every business should have a digital home. It's the way of the world. And if you don't have one, you are missing a huge opportunity. Many small businesses don't know where to start to even create their own website, so they don't even start. Some believe that it is so expensive to do that they put it off. And I won't lie to you, there is an investment. For us do-it-yourselfers, there is more of an investment of time than money, but it's doable. The main investment is the thinking power involved when it comes to how you want your website to look and what you want the user experience to be. At first, your website can be simple, just a few pages. And actually, it should just be simple at first. Just like your business will evolve, so should your website. So let's go further and talk control in websites. For me, when I first started my business, I created my website myself. A few years before my husband and I opened Scrivener Solutions, I created a little travel blog. I started it mainly to learn and to tinker. So when we opened our business, I knew how to start our business's website. I'm going to tell you straight out. Looking back at what it looked like way back then, I can honestly tell you it sucked. It really did. But it was up and going, and it propelled me to learn more. I learned more about my business, who I truly wanted to serve, how I wanted to help others, and I learned more about website development. My website has evolved, and it's going to continue to evolve. I am not 100% happy with it because I know that there can always be improvements. But I have control over it and can change anything I want to at any time I want to. Control is a good thing here. After all, our websites are our online home and our biggest online asset. We as small business owners should have the freedom to make changes when we want to and have our biggest online asset evolve with us. As I've grown my business, I've started to delegate tasks involving changing or updating my website. I consistently post new content on my website. Although I can do the blog post myself, and I'm confident in doing it myself, I let one of my team members do it so I can concentrate on other things. On the same lines, I can add an opt-in form or a pop-up box on my website too. But I have Brandy on my team to do that for me. She is very skilled and capable in doing the same tasks, and I can concentrate on the outcomes of what I want to achieve, not the actual steps of putting the opt-in box in there. For me, since I've developed the skills to do my own website, I also help clients with theirs. But I certainly don't want control over their websites. Oh no, the control should be theirs. I think it's sad when a business owner feels they don't have any control over their own website. You don't have to have the skills of a web developer to have the control that you need, and you may never even want to see the back end of your website, but you should still feel like you have control. And the way to retain control is to pick people who you delegate to has the same belief that the control should remain with you, the business owner. Years ago, pre-Scrivener Solutions days, I worked with a vendor that basically held the website of the business that I was working for hostage. They hosted the web address and they did not want to release it to the company at any time. I understand that they wanted to keep the business, but the URL was the company asset that the company should have been able to use whatever vendor they wanted to host and program their website. Because of that experience and the lengthy fight involved to gain control over the company's website and their address, so that the company I was working for, so that we could make changes, and what that did for me is it planted the seed of adamant belief that every company should retain control over their biggest online asset. Now, I don't find that happening as much anymore with web developers as it used to be, but I think it still happens. But something I do see is that some folks will delegate the creation of their website to someone, and they feel they don't have the ability to even get into their website to make any changes. Okay, I can see from the standpoint of the web developer, you certainly don't want someone who has not a clue to mess things up. I understand that. I can relate. I know. But at the same time, if you have chosen a person who does all the programming on your website and retains complete control over your website, what happens if they decide not to be in business any longer? What happens to your website? The typical thing is that you can't get into it and you have to start all over again, creating even more of an investment. Small business owners typically work with other small business owners, and that is fantastic. It's also fantastic to delegate to a freelancer or small business to help them grow. It's more economical, and you're working directly with that person. It's great. They will provide value to you to receive the outcomes you want. But there is the chance that the freelancer or small business won't be able to help you any longer. Maybe the freelancer has moved on. Maybe the small business closed. Certainly, you don't want that to happen, but it does. So how can you protect yourself? More specifically, when it comes to your website, how can you get the help you need to remain in control? The answer is use WordPress for your platform to build your website. And here are the reasons why. First, WordPress is widely used. WordPress is ranked as the top website platforms for small business. It holds about 25% of the market share on all websites out there. Big companies use it as well as small companies. What does that mean for you? It means that there are a ton of people out there who know how to use it. You have a vast pool of individuals who you can delegate to get things started and get things done. And then if you make a shift in your business, or that person that originally developed it is no longer available, you can have someone else pick up where the other person left off. Number 2, WordPress is flexible. WordPress is an open source platform that's been around since about 2003. Open source provides a lot of freedom. There is a large community of developers out there collaborating and contributing to make things better. With all the design templates and the plugins readily available, you have an endless amount of opportunity to create a unique and effective website. The third reason, it's economical. Being an open source program means it's free. Yes, WordPress is free. You can start your own WordPress website for free by going to WordPress.com. But I don't recommend that because you will have WordPress.com in your URL or your web address. It's still not your very own URL. You must invest in a place to host your website. Now, I recommend Bluehost for hosting your website. Hosting is what's needed to have the space or is the place for all of your stuff that goes into putting the website together. Your website is comprised of files and programming and all the stuff that needs to be out there and accessible on the web to make your website function. So, you need a place to host it. WordPress does have hosting plans as well as sites like GoDaddy, but I prefer and have been using for years Bluehost. All of my websites have been hosted under Bluehost for a very long time. But once you've purchased your website URL or your website address, you simply download WordPress to the site and voila, you are ready to create. WordPress itself is free. You have more options and more freedoms when you have your own hosted website address versus using the WordPress.com version. You switch over to WordPress.org features and products. Now, I don't want to geek out here because I could, so I'll just move on. But just remember, using WordPress is free. And the fourth reason that you should be using WordPress is it's easy to learn. Even if you don't want to take the time to create your own website, you partner up with someone who uses WordPress and learn enough of how it works behind the scenes in the background so that it's no longer a mystery to you. Getting the gist of the workings of WordPress allows you to have more control and delegate what you would like as outcomes better. Creating and maintaining your website shouldn't be a mystery. It's simply a process. You shouldn't be scared about logging into and getting comfortable with the basics of what goes on in the background. You may choose to hire someone to get things started and create and design your website because you don't want to take the time to learn that part. Well, that's okay. But then you may want to be able to upload new pictures or publish your own blogs, and you should have the power to do so. You may have inspiration at midnight one evening and feel like updating your About page. Maybe the wording isn't quite right and you want to change it. Maybe you've received a new certification and you want to add it. Maybe there's a missing comma that is glaring right at you and is driving you nuts. Or maybe you want to update your profile image. Whatever the reason is, you should have enough basic knowledge and confidence to hop in there into your WordPress site and make the changes that you want. Or at the very least, maybe your assistant can do it. You shouldn't have to rely on a web developer to do minor things. Remember, by using WordPress, there are a ton of people out there who know how to use it. Your website may start out small and basic. You don't have to invest a lot in your first one. But then over time, as you evolve and you may need new things, you may need someone that can really dig in deep and change the programming in your WordPress site. And that is fantastic. If you don't have a website and fuzzy as to where to start and how to find the right person to help, I invite you to join us in the Accomplish More Academy community. With your membership, we dive into subjects just like this. We take the mystery out of what is involved with systems like developing a website. It's a place where if you want to do things like build your own website yourself, you can. You can gain the confidence to no longer be afraid of technology and feel more in control over the systems in your business. Even if you just want to know the gist of how systems work, like WordPress, then you have a better control of how you want to delegate those tasks. In the Accomplish More Academy, it's not just a bunch of tutorials, which, by the way, it will have tutorials, but it's a group of people who come together to get questions answered and to receive the motivation and inspiration to become more effective and to accomplish more in your business. Jumping off and going into business for yourself is hard. The first 5 years especially are the hardest. There's so much to think about and you feel like you've got to do it all yourself. I know just how you feel. And that's why I opened the Accomplish More Academy. I've been helping folks by taking the mystery and fear of using that techie stuff by teaching them in simple and in a direct manner. But what's even more important is to have the coaching of how that techie stuff fits together to help you grow your business. Then, equally as important, is receiving the coaching and encouragement to fit the pieces together and work more effectively and efficiently, so when you're ready to delegate, you're better equipped. Especially designed for the solopreneur just starting out, hop over to accomplishmoreacademy.com and sign up and let's connect. Feel free to drop me a note at support@accomplishmoreacademy.com with any questions. I'm going to wrap it up for this week, but just remember, control is a good thing. You can have control in a healthy and not freaky manner. Feeling in control makes it easier to delegate, and it can all start by always maintaining complete control of your website. And to do that, start by using WordPress so that you can start off basic and have the flexibility to grow into complexity as you need it. Now remember, join me in the Accomplish More Academy by signing up at accomplishmoreacademy.com. And until next time, have a fantastic week.